Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. It's 8 o'clock. So we'll go ahead and get started. While we wait for Maharaj to arrive, we'll just do a small kirtan. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti namine Namaste Saraswati Devim Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastachadishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. All right, His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj has joined us. So, without further ado, Maharaj, if you will please go ahead and take it away.
Hare Krishna. I will begin by singing the Mangala Charna prayers and leading a short kirtan, and then we will discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. Vandeham Shri Guru Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Sagrajata Savana Raghunatham Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Savana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasatya Desatarine Namaste Saraswati Gauravani
Ganadhar Srivasar Gaur Bhaktavrinda
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
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 Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Srila Guru Deva.
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajacharya Stotras to Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajacharya Stotras to Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Right. So my dear devotees who have joined on Zoom, I request you as far as possible to put on your cameras so we can see your moon-like faces and have a more personal experience of your presence. Today we are reading a very important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5. Prahlad, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Text 32. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Naishammatistha Vadarukramangrim Sprishatyanartha Pagamo Yadartha Mahiya Shampadarajo Bhishekam Nishkinchananam Navranita Yavat Naishammatistha Vadarukramangrim Sprishatyanartha Pagamo Yadartha Mahiya Shampadarajo Bhishekam Nishkinchananam Navranita Yavat. Na, not, Asham, of these, Mati, the consciousness, Tavat, that long, Urukrama Angrim, the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is famous for performing uncommon activities. Sprishati, does touch. Anartha, of unwanted things. Apagama, the disappearance. Yat, of which. Artha, the purpose. Mahiyasham, of the great souls, the Mahatmas or devotees. Pada Raja, the dust of the lotus feet. Abhishekam, consecration. Nishkinchananam, of devotees who have nothing to do with the material world. Na, not. Ranita, may accept. Yavat, as long as. Translation. Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnav, completely freed from material contamination, persons very much inclined toward materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord in this way can one be freed from material contamination. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Becoming Krishna conscious brings about anartha apagama, the disappearance of all anarthas, the miserable conditions we have unnecessarily accepted. The material body is the basic principle of these unwanted, miserable conditions. The entire Vedic civilization is meant to relieve one from these unwanted miseries. But persons bound by the laws of nature do not know the destination of life. So I'll pause here to give some context to the present verse. As you know, Prahlad was the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu, the great demon. And Hiranyakashipu considered himself to be the enemy of Lord Vishnu, or rather, he considered Lord Vishnu to be his enemy. Because Lord Vishnu, in the form of Varahadev, had killed Hiranyakashipu's brother, Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu, being a great materialist, wanted his son Prahlad to be trained also to be a strong materialist. And he entrusted Prahlad to be educated by Sunanda and Amarka, who were two Brahmin sons of Shukracharya, who is the guru of the demons. One day, Hiranyakashipu asked his son what was the best thing he had learned from his teachers. And Prahlad replied, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyamatma Nivedanam, the 9 processes of devotional service, Navavidi Bhakti. When Hiranyakashipu heard Prahlad's answer, which was favorable to the devotional service of Vishnu, he became angry at the boy's teachers and accused them of teaching Prahlad wrong things. And the teachers replied, we have not taught him these things. Then Hiranyakasipu challenged, well, then you are allowing Vaishnavas in disguise to infiltrate the school. And they said, no, we are not. Then Hiranyakashipu asked, then how did Prahlad learn this devotion to Vishnu? And the teacher said, we don't know. You better ask him directly. So when he was asked, Prahlad replied with 3 verses, of which today's verse is the third and the culmination. And in the first verse, Prahlad Maharaj says, Matir ne Krishne parato satova. That means that one's inclination towards Krishna are never aroused by the efforts of others, by one's own efforts, or by a combination of the efforts of others and one's own efforts. So it would seem that logically all possible alternatives have been eliminated. You can't become Krishna conscious by your own efforts, or by the efforts of others, or by the combined efforts of yourself with others. And then he said, Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. That people, swartha, that swartha, means one's self-interest. And as Srila Prabhupada says, it is natural that one should be concerned with one's own self-interest. But one has to know what one's real self-interest is. So Prahlad Maharaj says, Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu, that our real self-interest is Vishnu, to serve Vishnu, and to go back to Vishnu. And then he comes to today's verse, which explains the mystery of how one can become Krishna conscious by bowing down at the lotus feet of a pure devotee. And indirectly, Prahlad was telling his father, you don't have to worry about becoming Krishna conscious because you're too proud. You will never bow down to the lotus feet of the pure devotee. So you don't need to worry about that. So now I will return to the purport. The entire Vedic civilization is meant to relieve one from these unwanted miseries. And we all know anarthas to mean unwanted things within the heart, bad habits, bad qualities. And those also are removed by this same process. As described, I'll finish that sentence. The entire Vedic civilization is meant to relieve one from these unwanted miseries. But persons bound by the laws of nature do not know the destination of life. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. As described in the previous verse, Isha Tantriam Urudamni Badha. They are conditioned by the 3 strong modes of material nature. The education that keeps the conditioned soul bound life after life is called materialistic education. And that is what Hiranyakashipu tried to arrange for his son, to make him a powerful materialist. But Prahlad had another teacher, apart from the two sons of Shukracharya. And that teacher was none other than the great saintly devotee Narada Muni. Because during the fighting between the demons and the demigods, at one stage, the demigods got the upper hand, and they took custody of Hiranyakashipu's wife, Kayadu, who was pregnant. And the demigods wanted to kill her because they thought that she was bearing within her womb another great demon, like Hiranyakashipu. But Narada Muni intervened, and he said, no, within her womb, she is carrying a great devotee. So the demigods, being devotees and accepting Narada as their guru, accepted his words, and they circumambulated Prahlad's mother with him in the womb. And Narada took custody of Kayadu and the unborn Prahlad and brought her to his ashram. And in his ashram, he instructed her about spiritual life. And Prahlad, within the womb, was hearing the instructions. In fact, there's a chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam, what Prahlad learned in the womb. So, apart from his materialistic teachers, Prahlad had his divine teacher, Narada Muni, from whom he had learned about devotional service to Vishnu. And Prahlad also says, Komara Acharat Pragya Bhagavat Dharma Iha. That the science of Bhagavat Dharma should be taught to children from the Kumara age. That means the very tender age of childhood. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada introduced the Gurukul system in ISKCON, so children could be educated from a young age about devotional service, as recommended by Prahlad Maharaj. So I'll return to the purport. The education that keeps the conditioned soul bound life after life is called materialistic education. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained that materialistic education expands the influence of Maya. Such an education induces the conditioned soul to be increasingly attracted to materialistic life and to stray further and further away from liberation, from unwanted misery. One may ask why highly educated persons do not take to Krishna consciousness. The reason is explained in this verse. Unless one takes shelter of a bona fide, fully Krishna conscious spiritual master, there is no chance of understanding Krishna. The educators, scholars, and big political leaders worshipped by millions of people cannot understand the goal of life and take to Krishna consciousness, for they have not accepted a bona fide spiritual master and the Vedas. Therefore, in the Mundaka Upanishad 3.2.3, it is said, Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyo Namedaya Na Bahuna Shutena. One cannot become self-realized simply by having an academic education or by presenting lectures in an erudite way, pravachanena labhya. Many of us know the word pravachan, discourse, or by being an intelligent scientist who discovers many wonderful things. One cannot understand Krishna unless one is graced by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only one who has surrendered to a pure devotee of Krishna and taken the dust of his lotus feet can understand Krishna. I'll repeat that. Only one who has surrendered to a pure devotee of Krishna and taken the dust of his lotus feet can understand Krishna. So what does it mean to take the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee? It can mean literally to bow down at the lotus feet of the pure devotee and take the dust upon one's head. But that is, first of all, not always possible, and second of all, not the essence of the relationship between the candidate and the pure devotee. The real essence of the relationship is to accept the instructions of the pure devotee upon one's head and to follow the instructions. And it's interesting that once a disciple asked Srila Prabhupada that Lord Chaitanya has given us the 8 prayers of the Shikshastaka, which contain the essence of Krishna consciousness. But accepting a spiritual master is such an important part of Krishna consciousness. But we don't find that Lord Chaitanya has said anything about a spiritual master in his Shikshastaka. And Srila Prabhupada replied that it is there, indirectly, in the verse Trinadapi Sunichena. Trinadapi Sunichena means that one should be more humble than the grass. And Srila Prabhupada said, if you're humble, you'll realize that you need help. You'll realize that you cannot be successful in spiritual life by your own efforts, and therefore you need a guru. So indirectly, it is there. So, coming back to the purport. Only one who has surrendered to a pure devotee of Krishna and taken the dust of his lotus feet can understand Krishna. First, one must understand how to get out of the clutches of Maya. The only means is to become Krishna conscious. And that is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita by the Supreme Authority, Krishna, Supreme Lord Krishna. Devi hiesha gunamaya mama maya duratyaya. That this material energy consisting of the three modes is very difficult to overcome. Devi hiesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Mam eva ye prapadyante, but one who has surrendered unto me, unto Krishna, mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite, can easily cross over Maya. So first one must understand how to get out of the clutches of Maya. The only means is to become Krishna conscious. And to become Krishna conscious very easily, one must take shelter of a realized soul, a Mahat or Mahatma, whose only interest is to engage in the service of the Lord. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:13, Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajantyananyam manaso gyatva bhuta dimavyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So here, Prahlad Maharaj is recommending that one surrender unto a Mahat or a Mahat. So we have to be able to recognize a Mahat or Mahatma, and therefore Srila Prabhupada has quoted this verse, Bhagavad Gita 9:13, which describes a Mahatma. There's another verse in the Bhagavad Gita that describes a Mahatma. Bahunam janmana mante gyanavam mam prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. After acquiring knowledge for many lifetimes, one who is actually wise surrenders to Krishna. Such a great soul is very rare. So a Mahatma is a surrendered soul to Krishna. Therefore, to end the unwanted miseries of life, one must become a devotee. Who wants to end the unwanted miseries of life? We all do. Therefore, we should take shelter of the lotus feet of a devotee and ourselves become devotees. Yasmati bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvai gunais tatra samasate sura. One who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna consistently manifests all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-12. So to be a devotee means to have the qualities of a devotee, to have all good qualities. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions 26. But the main qualification is Krishnaika Sharanam, to have taken complete shelter of Krishna. If one has the other 25 qualities, but not the one essential quality of Krishnaika Sharanam, then the other 25 qualities are of no particular value. But if one has the one quality of Krishnaika Sharanam, having taken exclusive shelter of Krishna, then all the other good qualities will manifest themselves, as stated here. One who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna consistently manifests all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods. Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tataguro tasyati katita yartha prakashante mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls, here's another definition of Mahatma. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So it does Vatara Upanishad 6:23. Once Srila Prabhupada asked his disciple, Guru Kripa, what is the most important verse in the Vedic scriptures? And Guru Kripa replied, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Yavikevalam, Kalona Stevana, Stevana, Stevakatirit. And Srila Prabhupada replied, no. Yasya deve parabhaktir yata deve tataguro tasyati katita yartha prakashante mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. And continuing in the purport, Yam Aivaisha Vrinute Tena Labhyas Tasyaiva Atma Vrinute Tanum Swam. The Lord is obtained only by one whom he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. So that's Mandaka Upanishad 3:2-3. And we read earlier from that same verse in the purport that Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyo Namedaya Na Bahuna Shutena. One cannot become self-realized by having an academic education, by presenting lectures in an erudite way, or being an intelligent scientist who discovers wonderful things. But the Lord is obtained by one whom he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. And the Lord does that with a devotee who has surrendered to his devotee. As Krishna says to Arjuna in the Adi Purana, one who claims to be my devotee is not actually my devotee, but one who is the devotee of my devotee, he is my true devotee. These are Vedic injunctions. One must take shelter of a self-realized spiritual master, not a materially educated scholar or politician. One must take shelter of a niskinchana. Niskinchana literally means one without anything. Who have nothing to do with the material world, who are fully devoted to Krishna consciousness. One must take shelter of a niskinchana, a person engaged in devotional service and free from material contamination. That is the way to return home back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. So, yes, I would like to thank Sriman Nitai Gaur Sundar for inviting us for our monthly satsang on the last Monday of every month, or the fourth Monday of every month, and for choosing this beautiful verse and purport. So now we can open the floor to devotees. If any of you have any questions or comments, any reflections on what we've discussed, you can raise your hand, your physical hand or your virtual hand. I see Navadvip Chandra Das has raised his virtual hand.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, my question is that we are in the Damodar Leela. It says that there are two fingers too short represent the endeavor and the mercy. And the verse that you spoke about, Matirna Krishna Parato Satova, in that it talks about that none of the efforts, whether our own individual efforts or somebody else's efforts, won't help. So it is only mercy. It seems like it is only mercy. So how do we understand the difference between the two? And what does endeavor actually mean? What do we have to do on our part?
Yes, that's a good question. Navadvip Chandra Prabhu quotes the Damodar Leela, that to be successful, one has to make one's own endeavor and also receive Krishna's mercy. As you know, Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna with ropes. In fact, the name Damodar, Dhamma, means rope, and Udara means belly. So she was trying to bind Krishna with ropes, but the lengths of the ropes were always 2 fingers too short, or 2 inches too short. But eventually, Krishna, seeing the hard labor of Mother Yashoda, became merciful to her and allowed her to bind him. And there are two words, Sanskrit words in the verse. One is parishram, which means hard labor, and the other is Krishna Kripa, which means Krishna's mercy. And our acharyas explain that that distance of 2 fingers or 2 inches was covered one by her efforts, parishram, and the other by Krishna's mercy. And we need that combination. So Navadip Chandra Prabhu is raising the question that here Prahlad Maharaj seems to be emphasizing only mercy, because he says one cannot be Krishna conscious by one's own efforts or the efforts of others or the combination of the efforts of others and oneself. But one's effort comes when one accepts a spiritual master. One's effort comes in when one endeavors to follow the instructions of the spiritual master. So that's where the endeavor comes. And yeah, the combination, yasya prasada, Bhagavat prasada, that combination of endeavoring to serve the spiritual master and please the spiritual master, combined with the spiritual master's mercy, which is followed by Krishna's mercy, makes the devotee successful. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So sevaya. Yeah, one should approach a spiritual master. One should surrender to a spiritual master. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena. One should inquire submissively. Sevaya. And one should serve. So, yeah, we have to make that much effort.
Guru Maharaj, I have one more question. Can I ask?
All right.
So you spoke about the 26 qualities and you spoke about Krishna Eka Sharanam. That is the primary quality. So how much effort we have to do to develop those other 25 qualities, or it will something that will automatically come if we perform bhakti?
We should do both. Of course, engage in bhakti yoga, which will purify the heart, Chetodarpano Marjanam, and bring out our natural good qualities. But we can also make an effort. Once I was present in the room with His Holiness Radhanath Swami, and someone asked him about humility, how he became so humble. And that he had to practice. So we have to practice, and then it becomes second habit. Habit is second nature. But in the beginning, we may have to practice those qualities, make an effort to manifest those qualities.
Thank you.
Nitai Gaurasunder, you raised your hand for what reason?
Yes, Maharaj. The reason I chose this verse, because you are the purport of this verse.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking that Srila Prabhupada was the purport of the verse.
But you were reading the book, Maharaj. This is so. Can you give a little idea how you got that that faith and total dedication to Srila Prabhupada?
You're referring to my book, I'll Build You a Temple, the Juhu story? Oh.
Maharaj, I finished it.
Well, thank you for choosing this verse, and thank you for honoring me by saying that I was the purport of the verse. Maybe we should conclude now.
Maharaj, there was a question on the chat.
Oh, okay.
You want me to read it, Maharaj?
Please do. Please do.
Is from Kartiki Turkar. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you for such beautiful and important instruction. My question is how we can develop complete surrender and depend completely on the mercy of Guru or Krishna. My answer will be read your book.
That's a beautiful answer. I see Kartiki is with us. She's nodding her head in agreement. So I accept that answer. Thank you very much. Oh, Malati Dasi has her virtual hand raised.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please excuse me the obeisances, all yours to share Prabhupada, all yours to your divine. Guru Maharaj, you said that when you have to have qualities in yourself, you have to practice. And if you have bad qualities and you want to drive them away from you, then what is the procedure?
How to become free from bad qualities?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Well, again, there's two answers. I mean, those bad qualities are anarthas. And this verse is telling us how to become free from anarthas by surrendering to pure devotion. And every bad quality is the opposite of a good quality. So you can work on developing the good quality, which is the opposite of the bad quality that you want to be free from. And we discussed how to do that. You just practice. Practice and chant here.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, sir.
And Hare Krishna, his actual name is Vishal Patel from Houston.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Maharaj, it says in the purport, sorry. It says that the only means, first one must understand how to get out of the clutches of Maya. The only means is to become Krishna conscious, and to become Krishna conscious very easily, one must take shelter of a realized soul. Now, what's some of the reasons why somebody does not want to take shelter of a realized soul? Like, you mentioned that if you're humble, you realize you need help. Now, like, I mean, I need help, but like, I still kind of like you. I think one time you said that people don't like taking. Well, some people don't like being initiated because they think that the spiritual master will try to get some service out of them. I think you said that one time. So, like, what? I mean, what? See, I don't know. It's just. I don't know. It's just. See, I mean, you said in that we also wrote that article, service to Guru, no higher duty. Right? I mean, it's it's just I'm just confused right now. But I mean, what's stopping me from, accepting? I don't know. It's just
Your mind.
my mind. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah, Krishna.
Mind is the best friend of the living entity and the worst enemy. So, yeah.
What's a good way to get my mind to become my best friend? What's a good way?
Well, yeah, chanting and hearing. And association is very important. Srila Prabhupada said 90% of Krishna consciousness is association. So yeah, if you keep association with good devotees, that will help you a lot. Yeah. But yeah, just keep going. Don't give up. Keep trying. How are your rounds?
Yeah, actually, I haven't chanted since that. I've been doing a lot of service, but I mean, I heard this class the other day. I think you said that you said that if we're so busy doing service and we can't read, that's okay. But what about like if I'm so busy doing like I would, okay, for example, I could sit down and chant 16 rounds if I get enough sleep. But right now it's like, I'd rather do some practical service than sit and chant Hare Krishna. I mean, Hare Krishna means, engagement in service, right? But like if I see some service, I'd rather just do that rather than, sit and chant Hare Krishna. I mean, I don't know, I can chant Hare Krishna. I mean, it's difficult for me to do it, but I'd prefer not. I'd rather not do it. I'd rather do some, something practical. Even, I mean, I don't know. It's just, yeah.
How long does it take you to chant 16 rounds?
Like, I mean, probably just under 2 hours generally, about under 2 hours.
So what?
Yeah.
Chant for 2 hours and do service for the rest of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to get to that stage where, but every time I come home late and then, I mean, it's not, I don't know, I need some special help because I'm trying to get, I'm getting there slowly. I mean, that day I was forced to make a vow, in that meeting. I mean, I don't know. I said I'm going to try. That's why I didn't want to lie, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, I think Jan and Prabhu, I think that he would change rounds first and then do service all day. So he's a good example. I'm trying to follow him.
Who?
Jayananda Prabhu.
Oh yeah,
Prabhu.
Jayananda Prabhu, yeah. So Prabhu also, the temple president in Los Angeles, he gets up at 2 o'clock in the morning and chants his rounds before Mangalarti. Because as the temple president, anything could come up at any time that he would have to deal with. And so he wants to get his rounds done first. So he gets up at 2 o'clock and chants his rounds before Mangalarti.
Now, what about in the Gita? It says, though, I think somebody in chapter 12 it says that if you can't do this, do this. If you can't do this, do this. I mean, there's some like concession, like that Krishna gives. But for initiation, I have to do 16 rounds, right? For initiation, it's required. So
It is.
yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Ayushi's hand is up. Unmute yourself, Ayushi,
Hare
please.
Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, in the mention, like the purport that you just discussed today, there is one statement that is mentioned that the Lord is obtained only by one whom he himself chooses. So, Guru Maharaj, does that mean that Krishna is biased to some people like his devotees and is not does that mean that he's partial, because Krishna wants to claim everyone back home, back to Godhead, but I could not really understand this statement that Lord is obtained only by one whom he himself chooses.
Yes, Krishna wants us all to come back home, back to Godhead. But it depends on us. We also have to follow the process. And the process is, it begins, Ado Guru Padashraya, by taking shelter of the lotus feet of the spiritual master. The very first item in devotional service, Ado Guru Padashraya. And then Diksheti, take initiation. Shiksheti, receive instruction. Those are the first three items. And when, Yasya Prasada, Bhagavat Prasada, when the spiritual master gives his mercy, then Krishna will give his mercy.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Well, if there are no more questions and comments, we can end. I would like to conclude with Vaishnav Pranam. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnav devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakalpa Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Thank you, Maharaj, for showering your mercy one more time. We'll see you next fourth Monday of the August, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay. One of those Mondays is, I don't know if it's the 4th though. Yeah. One of the Mondays is Janmashtami. So, but anyway, yeah, unless it's Janmashtami, I will
Yes, Maharaj.
be with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Jai.